Welcome to Just Say This, the place to get all the help you need for the birds and bees talks. I'm your host, Amy Lang. Just a quick reminder, this show is for grown-ups because I'll be swearing. There'll be lots of swears, and then I'll also be talking about grown-up sex. I can guarantee that your kids do not want to listen to this, and they really don't want to listen to it with you. You've been warned. Do you have a question for me? Please give me a call. The phone number is 206-926-1522, 206-926-1522, and I will answer on the show. And if you have a funny sex talk story, please call in those as well. 206-926-1522. Thanks. It's time for your weekly chirp. What's a chirp? It's a script. I'll be picking one topic every other week and give you a script. So are they going to be perfect? Oh my God, no. And if you don't like it or you have a real problem with it and you feel like you need to let me know, please don't be a dick about it. They're not going to be perfect. So you need to tweak the language to suit your family. The next thing is this. Is it going to get the ball rolling? That's the goal. I'm going to give you one little thing to talk to your kids about and you can get at it. If your kids are younger, you're going to dumb the language down, make it simpler. If they're older, you're going to make it more complicated. These are actually directed at 9-year-olds. So enjoy this week's chirp. Nothing says happy holidays like a little dose of sexual abuse prevention. So hey, happy holidays. Let's just take a minute to learn a little bit about how to help your kid say no when someone wants to, shake their hand, pat their head, squeeze them, hug them, kiss them, force them to sit on some creepy stranger's lap. I know most Santas are not creepy, but some can be. And our kids have really good vibes about who's a safe adult and who's not. So, you know this. No one should ever touch your child without their permission. However, you also know this. It is really hard as an adult to tell someone not to touch you. I just had an incident on the pickleball court. Oh yes, of course I'm playing pickleball. And with this guy, and okay, granted he wears American flag with Jesus incorporated t-shirts. He's really nice, but we were playing and I can't remember if he tapped me in the ass with his paddle or if he just said something to me that was just sort of sexist and maybe air quotes flirty. And I was like, in my head, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't say anything to him. I brushed it off and I haven't seen him since, but I am going to talk to him about it. But I couldn't do it in the moment. So imagine you're, 9 and say you're, not to stereotype or whatever, your brother-in-law who you know is just kind of a dick and doesn't get much of anything, or maybe it's another family member or a friend or somebody, and they're like, hey, it's good to see you, and go in for the hug, and your kid's like, in their head, and you can tell by the look on their face that they can't say, hey, I don't want to be touched. So, you know this. It's your job to get in between that. It's your job to talk to that other adult. But here's the deal. Like I just demonstrated, I can't even do it for myself. I mean, sometimes I can if it's really obvious, but I can't do it for myself. So expecting your kids to be able to handle this, it's not fair to them. And if you can't do it for yourself, then, and they don't see you do that, or they don't see you do it, then it just makes everything harder. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like everything else, please, somebody call me and give me a different analogy or whatever. Got to put your oxygen mask on, right? So how are you going to take care of yourself in your regular life if people are wanting to hug you or whatever when you greet them? Let your kids see you do with that. Let your kids see you do that. Even with somebody you usually hug. You can just say, I'm not game right now. You can also cue them in. Like, I'm going to do this with you so they can see me doing this, actively doing this. Anyway, so that's for you. And then you're practicing it. And so then when some asswipe on the pickleball court does something, says something, I don't think he touched me. I think it was what he said to me that was like, oh my God, like, shut the fuck up. And I bet you voted for Trump. Anyway, side note, we can't do it. If we can't do it, we need to practice doing it so we can do it in front of our kids and so that they have a better chance of doing it. Anyway, back to your children. Some of this to me is kind of obvious, and I posted a really great article by Feather Berkauer in the show notes about dealing with Santa, but it's beyond Santa. Don't make your kid sit on Santa's lap. You already know this, but there's a lot of peer pressure. There's parental peer pressure, like your peer parents will be like, "Why not? It's fine. He's great. My kids have been going to him for years." But it just doesn't send a good message. And it also, what I'm saying right now, actually kind of reinforces stranger danger. So we all know that's not a thing. But one thing for kids is that they think if they've met someone, they're not a stranger. Anywho, don't make them sit in Santa's lap. Give them an option to stand next to Santa and call it good. And if they're like, yeah, I'm not down for this, great. If they want to stand there and say, present their list of demands, present their PowerPoint. Oh my God, we're all going to die. I mean, between one thing and another thing right now, a PowerPoint presentation of what they want for Christmas. Anyway, maybe they just show it on their phone. The 9-year-old with the phone, they can just show them the PowerPoint that way. All right, sorry. Oh my God, I was just on somebody's podcast and for some reason I got going on the phone thing. She looked a little shocked. Keep an eye on my social media. I'll share that and then one of her episodes, but sorry. Again, I digress. All right, so there's that. The next thing is getting ahead of the adults in your life with your kid. As kids get older, like when they hit that 10, 11, 12 period of time, lots of them are really getting into this, like, I don't want to hug grandma, right? So cue up your adults that are coming to your house, are going to be around your kids and say, hey, we're practicing body boundaries. So here's what I'd like you to do is just ask first before you go in for the hug or whatever. And then if they don't want to do that, then you respect their boundaries. Tell them it's nothing personal. It's about teaching them how to be safe out in the world because people take advantage of kids and it's usually someone they know. And then you might get the person in your family, when you say this, who just is like, well, you're saying I'm a predator? Do you hear how I sound like a man, sort of? Because they're the ones who do it the most. But anyway, I know, I hear you. Women, teenagers, kids, also sexually abused kids. But, when you get that pushback, say it is nothing personal. And this is about teaching them body boundaries. You can even tell a story yourself if you have something that's not too revealing that you remember happening to you when you were a kid. That might help them to change their behavior. But you can't control people, which is really unfortunate because wouldn't it be so nice if we could control people? So making sure everybody that's coming into your kid's space knows that this is going on, knows that you're working on it, knows that in order for them to be a trustworthy adult in your child's life, that they do this, they behave this way, they pay attention. Okay, that's that. All this Santa stuff, all this holiday stuff, and every other fucking thing that's going on right now. Life's rough. So I just thought I'd add a little, sexual abuse stuff. One last thing, since I'm on this very happy holiday topic. About 40% of children are sexually abused by other children. So not good. And I'm just going to give you a couple tips for that. Same body boundary rules, reminding them of that. Also, when you have a bunch of kids over and different ages, some adult you need to take turns as the adults keeping a track of the kids and supervising the kids. So there's a timer, it's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes. That adult is in the same space as the kids, so you can prevent shenanigans of all kinds. Now, this feels awkward and uncomfortable, and it should not just be you, because people get so fucking weird about this. And, of course, keeping an eye on the devices. So institute that with your people. And if they don't like it and you're parenting with somebody else, you have a friend that's willing to do it, then you just trade off, because kids make mistakes. And I oftentimes when kids sexually abuse other kids, it's because they really don't know what they're doing unless they're older. And even then, so anywho, I hope you have a lovely holiday season and that you are able to do this stuff. It'll give you some relief to have these conversations in place if you do have concerns, especially if you have concerns about someone in your life that could potentially, that smells like a person that could do this kind of thing. All right. There you go. Thanks for listening to me. And I'm always open to your questions. And then I think I said this last time, I'm starting to work with parents of neurodiverse kids. So I will do some neurodiverse specific episodes, so please, if you have questions, just call in 206-926-1522, 206-926-1522. Since you're on your phone, you could do that right now, right? Okay, thanks. Thanks for being a listener. That's it for this week. Thanks to everyone who's been calling in. The number's 206-926-1522, so please leave me a message if you have a question or a tale from the trenches. And thank you to Melanie Smith, my producer, and to Rolf, who wrote the Birds and Bees and Kids theme song.